Karthuliana, the Georgian language, is probably Georgia's most well-known attribute after its stunning nature, yet Georgian remains an enigma to foreigners. This is largely due to the sheer uniqueness of the Georgian language, from its beautiful alphabet to its insane verb structure. This video will discuss the features of the Georgian language that aren't commonly found in other languages. The most visible attribute that makes Georgian unique is its alphabet. Georgian's initial alphabet, Asomtavruli, was first used sometime in the 5th century. The second script, Nuskhuri, was short-lived because it only lasted between the 9th and 10th centuries. This alphabet more closely resembled Armenian than the current Georgian script, Nikhedruli. The current Georgian alphabet was created sometime in the 10th century. One of the most unique features of this script is that it doesn't have capitalization. Additionally, there is not a formal form of cursive in Georgian like there is in the Cyrillic or Latin alphabets. This means that each of its 33 letters only has one form, although some letters do have a shortened form. Another unique feature of the Georgian language is that its alphabet is extremely phonetic. This means that it is written almost exactly as each word is pronounced. Georgian has 33 letters for each of its 33 sounds, unlike English, which has 26 letters but has at least 40 sounds depending on the dialect. Despite having fewer sounds than English, some of the sounds that make Georgian unique also make it so difficult to learn. This is because Georgian has 6 unaspirated consonants. An unaspirated consonant is a consonant where you do not have a puff of air after you make the sound. For example, the ones in Georgian are k, p, t, k, t, and ch. As difficult as these letters are on their own, Georgian tends to group consonants into what linguists call harmonic clusters, which is when a voiced and unvoiced consonant are paired, such as g, chk, ch, and zh. It is not uncommon to see these clusters paired with other consonants, such as the word brtskinvali, magnificent, and trvaloba, drunkenness. If you somehow managed to learn how to read, write, and pronounce Georgian, then learning its grammar is going to bring its own unique challenges. Many of these challenges arise because Georgian is considered to be a language isolate. This means that Georgian vocabulary, and more importantly, its grammar, developed independently of other languages, and as such, Georgian is unrelated to Romance, Germanic, Slavic, and Turkic languages. For this reason, Georgian and its cousins, Svan, Megruli, and Laz, are considered to be a part of the Kartvelian language family. Georgian adjectives and nouns have what could loosely be called a case system. Unlike English, Spanish, or Polish, Georgian doesn't have prepositions such as on, about, in, to, and with. Instead, Georgian uses 12 suffixes that are divided into 7 different declension patterns, or cases, in which the noun and adjective must be in agreement. Even though this sounds complicated, Georgian, with its 12 suffixes in lieu of prepositions, is a little bit easier to learn than Russian, which has over 50 different prepositions. The most difficult part of Georgian, however, is its complicated verb system. The most unique feature of Georgian verbs is that they do not have an infinitive form, so it's not possible to say to perform or to sing in Georgian. Instead, Georgians use gerunds such as performing or singing instead of infinitives. This means that you would say I like playing the piano instead of I like to play the piano, and I like the listening of Georgian music instead of I like to listen to Georgian music. Additionally, Georgian verbs don't conjugate in the stereotypical manner. Instead, they use pronoun markers that go at the beginning and/or end of the verb to indicate the actor of the verb. Georgian moods, the part of a tense which indicates the intent of the verb, are formed differently than in most other languages. To indicate a mood, Georgian verbs use suffixes. For example, the subjunctive mood, which is used to indicate hypothetical situations such as should or ought, uses the suffix de, and the past perfective tense uses the suffix e. Georgian aspects, the part of a tense which specifies the time span of the verb, are formed oddly as well. Imperfective tenses, or tenses that deal with a general time span, such as I was running and I used to run, do not use a prefix, while perfective tenses, tenses that deal with a specific time span, such as I ran or I will run, use a prefix. Each verb has a specific prefix, because these prefixes have a unique meaning. For example, the prefix gada means across, and the verbs translate, pay, and decide use this prefix. Another common prefix, mo, indicates motion towards the speaker, and the verbs listen and add use this prefix. One final example of this is the prefix she, which indicates entering, and verbs such as drink and notice use this prefix. These prefixes are used to make Georgian verbs of motion. In Georgian, all verbs of motion share the same root, which is based off of the verb to be, and get their meaning from these 14 prefixes. Let's use the root for the verb of motion, I, in the present tense, which is vdivar, where var is the same word for am as in I am. All other verbs of motion for I in the present tense will use this root, but they'll get their meaning from the prefix which is affixed to this root. For example, the verb of motion using the prefix gada is gadavdivar and means I am crossing, when a verb of motion using the prefix mo, movdivar, it means I am coming. And the verb of motion using the prefix she is shevdivar and means I am entering. See how the only thing that changed is the prefix? Georgian also has passive verbs, which are used for verbs of being, such as being hungry and being tired. These verbs have a different conjugation pattern. This is because, in Georgian, verbs of being happen to the actor. For example, to say, I am hungry in Georgian, you are literally saying, to me there is hunger. What's particularly interesting about the Georgian verb system is that you can use a conjugation pattern for verbs of being with other types of verbs to show to whom the action is occurring. Let's take the verb tser, write, as an example. When this verb is conjugated as dami tseret, it means you wrote it to me. Let's break this down piece by piece. The prefix da indicates perfective tense. The m is a passive verb marker meaning to me. The e is a marker which indicates that the action was done by the actor for someone. Tser is the root meaning write. And the suffix e is used for the past tense. And the final t is a conjugation marker for you. An entire sentence conjugated in one verb. That's a pretty complicated verb, and most Georgians don't generally speak using such complex grammatical structures, but many of the commonly used verbs, such as speak, say, write, and do, make, are frequently conjugated like this. As you can see, the Georgian language has a lot of unique attributes and characteristics. This makes learning Georgian a challenging, yet rewarding experience. For more information about Georgia, visit our website, www.visiting-georgia.com. Thanks for watching.